Okay, in this video I'm going to cover 5 essays on psychological explanations for crime. For anyone taking the 2022 exam, this is a last-minute video to help you with your essay writing. For every essay, I'll remind you what the topic is about, then we'll look at a plan and a model essay. If you find the video useful, whether you have an exam tomorrow or not, let me know by giving it a like. So here is my first essay, Ising's Theory of the Criminal Personality. The link to the full lesson is on the screen now, but just as a quick reminder, this was the theory that focused on dimensions of personality with a particular look at the role of extroversion and neuroticism. The plan to my essay looks like this. You can see I'm going to be focusing on personality theory in general first, followed by Ising's idea of a biological basis of personality. We're then going to look at what the criminal personality is, with a specific look at high levels of extroversion and neuroticism. And then we're going to look at the role of socialization as suggested by Ising. The evaluation points are going to start with a research support point and a counterpoint. We're then going to look at some cultural factors, and we are going to finish off with a discussion point, which is all about Ising's personality questionnaire and how useful it actually is. And this is the essay. The outline is nice and brief, finishing up at around 160 words. I've got 2 bits of discussion in there as well. The bit in yellow is a counterpoint, and then the pink and purple bits at the end are discussion points surrounding Ising's personality questionnaire and how useful it actually is. Okay, all the evaluation points are fairly short, but the discussion points particularly pack a little bit of a punch. And of course, like I always say, you don't need all of my evaluation points. If you want to get rid of 1 or even 2, go ahead and do that. So moving on, we have cognitive explanations for crime. Cognitive explanations for crime focus on the way that people think, and you have 2 theories within there. You've got Kohlberg's theory of moral reasoning, and you've got cognitive distortions, which are faulty ways of thinking. In my outline, I'm going to talk about both of those things. I'm going to give 2 examples of cognitive distortions, although I'm not going to go into the same amount of detail for both of them. I'm also going to have 4 evaluation points, with one of them being a discussion point right at the end. That is, cognitive theories are descriptive, but they can't predict what's going to happen. And here is the essay. You can see that the outline stays quite short, with bits of detail woven in throughout, like the research by Barbary in the final line. You can also see that the evaluation points get progressively longer and more detailed as the essay goes on, finishing off with a discussion point in pink at the end. Notice with the discussion point that I'm making the argument that other explanations may be better than cognitive explanations, but remember that when you do that, it's really important to actually name some of the alternatives so that the examiner knows that you've given it some thought. So in this essay, I have named differential association theory and psychodynamic explanations as being more useful potentially than cognitive explanations. My third essay is on differential association theory. Differential association theory was put forward by Sutherland, and for anyone who can't remember, this is the theory that was described as the social learning theory of crime, because it suggests that people learn criminal attitudes and criminal actions through their significant others. All of that is going to go into my outline, together with the fact that Sutherland specified that it would be possible to mathematically predict how likely it is that someone would go on to offend if we knew for certain how many pro- and anti-criminal attitudes they had been exposed to during their lives. Following a similar trend to the last essays, I've got 3 evaluation points and a discussion point at the end. I quite like the discussion points for forensics, so they often make an appearance in my essays, just in case you're wondering why I've got so many of them. They are also quite nice for essays in general. Examiners tend to like a discussion point, so if you get the opportunity to use one, then I would go ahead and do that. And then when you put it all together, it looks like this. Again, the outline is fairly short, but I think that comes down to the fact that a lot of the forensic theories tend to look really, really long in a textbook, but they can actually be shortened down to quite a nice sized outline. You've then got the evaluation points, and the discussion point is the pinky coloured one at the end. Okay, and then this brings us to our final single essay before we look at a bonus combination essay at the end to finish off. So we've got the psychodynamic explanations for crime, which means that we are going to be looking at the work of good old Freud. We'll mainly be looking at the role of the superego in the development of criminal behaviors, and we'll be looking at 3 specific types of superego. We're also going to have a quick look at Bowlby, but the focus is mainly going to be on Freud. You can see in my plan that we've got all 3 types of superego that are suggested to play a role in crime. You've got the weak, the deviant, and the over-harsh superego, all of which are going to get a mention. Bowlby is also going to be making an appearance, but the focus is mainly going to be around the 44 Thieves study and affectionless psychopathy. Okay, so the focus is there very much on maternal deprivation. But remember, maternal deprivation is a psychodynamic theory because psychodynamic theories emphasize the role of childhood experiences on later life. The evaluation points are also going to be mainly focusing around Freud because it is the main theory we're going to be talking about. So the first 3 evaluation points are all going to be based around the superego and based around Freud's work, and then the final evaluation point is going to be about Bowlby. And then this is what it would look like. There's a slightly longer outline in this one. All 3 forms of superego get a mention, which is obviously going to eat into your word count a little bit. Some of them get a little bit more detail than others, but that's fine. The over-harsh superego gets a proper mention because I've got an evaluation point about it, so I want to make sure that I've outlined it properly as well. At the end of the outline, there are a couple of lines on Bowlby, but remember, it doesn't matter if there isn't the same amount of detail on both the psychodynamic approach and Bowlby, as long as you're giving a good account of the theory throughout. My evaluation points are, as usual, in green, yellow, and orange. Bear in mind, I haven't got a discussion point here. That's mainly because my 4th evaluation point is on Bowlby, and the other 3 focus on the superego. There is a discussion point that you could use. There's several discussion points, in fact, that you could use depending on what book you're using, but I just decided not to put one in this particular essay. Okay, and then this brings us to the final essay, the bonus essay, which is a combination of 2 or more psychological explanations for crime. You could quite literally choose any 2 theories that I've gone through in this video. You don't even have to talk about all of the theories that come up within a particular topic. You can quite literally chop and change and choose which theories you want to talk about. So I've gone for cognitive explanations and psychodynamic explanations, but I'm only going to be talking about cognitive distortions and the superego. Okay, so I'm going to leave out moral reasoning, Kohlberg's theory, and I'm going to leave out Bowlby as well. That's because I don't need them all for my 6-mark outline. I'm going to do a little bit of cognitive and a little bit of psychodynamic, and that'll give me plenty of detail for my 6-mark outline. Okay, so remember that within cognitive explanations and within the psychodynamic approach, there are actually 2 individual theories, and you can use these individual theories as outlines in their own right. Okay, you don't have to talk about everything. So, as you can see, that's exactly what I've done. I'm going to start with my cognitive distortions. I'm going to talk about hostile attribution bias and minimalization, and it probably won't look massively different to the essay that I showed you earlier. Then I'm going to go on and I'm going to talk about the inadequate superego, and again I'm going to use a very similar outline to the one that I used in my previous essay. My evaluation points are an amalgamation of both my previous essays, so I've taken 2 evaluation points from my psychodynamic essay and I've taken 2 evaluation points from my cognitive essay, which gives me a total of 4 evaluation points. Remember, when you're outlining more than one thing, it means that you need less evaluation points for each, and that gives you an opportunity to have more evaluation points in total, which means you get more opportunity to put extra detail in to your essay overall. So, for a final time in this video, this is what it looks like when it's all put together. So as you can see, I've split my outline out. I've gone outline, evaluate, outline, evaluate. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can have all of your outline bits together if you want, followed by all of your evaluation. I've just decided to do it like this for this particular essay because I thought it worked quite nicely. The section on the cognitive explanations is slightly shorter than my section on the superego, and there are other bits of detail that you could put into both of those outlines, but in the interest of making it manageable in an exam, I haven't included every single bit of detail that you could use. Okay, but that's fine. Remember, like I keep saying, you don't need every single bit of detail, you just need the right amount of breadth and depth, and you need to give a nice account of the theory. Okay, so what you see on the screen in front of you there is plenty to get a level 4 essay. Okay, and that wraps up this video. I hope it's been useful. I'm going to keep it really short at the end here, so please just pop any questions in the comments section below and I will get back to you ASAP. Thanks for listening, I hope it's all made sense, and I will see you in the next one.